Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here for episode number 979 on our YouTube channel, everybody. Well, today we are going out to Kentucky, and we've got a very, very interesting family business to talk with you about. Now, we're going to be speaking with Savannah Pittman, who is in the FFA at Calloway County High School, and she is doing an entrepreneurship SAE in vegetable production. And this is in a family garden that all the cousins come together in. They all grow their individual vegetables and fruits in this large 1 acre size family garden. And then they run a business called Papa's Produce Barn. They do it both on site and at the farmer's market on the weekends. It's a really interesting family tradition. Very, very cool business. And we're excited to profile it for you. We're going to get that started for you right now. Savannah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to speak with you, and hopefully, well, you're on East Coast time, right?
I'm Central Time.
Oh, Central Time. So you're just an hour ahead of me. So I didn't get you out of bed for this, though. I mean, we're late enough in the morning. Okay, good. Well, speaking of that, you're obviously at home. You've got a great background. Somebody likes to carve S's for Savannah, it looks like, and put them on your wall.
Yes.
And so I'm assuming that your school either is hybrid or you're still not allowed to go to class. Is that how things are working for you there?
Well, we were on virtual after Thanksgiving break, and then we don't actually go back until this Monday.
Oh, so you're still on Christmas break?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, what a long break. Okay. You know, it's funny. Are you enjoying Christmas break as much this year? With people doing virtual school, does it really make much of a difference?
Not really.
I mean, the holidays are nice, but in terms of, it used to be when I was your age, which is, I think that's 7 or 8 decades ago is when I was your age. But no, I'm exaggerating a little, not much. Getting out of school for 2 weeks was super exciting, and it was a lot of fun to have all that freedom. But my daughter, who she's just a few years younger than you, man, I mean, it's not that exciting. It's like, well, I'm already home, 3 days a week. So what difference does it make? She kind of wishes school would go back full time because she'd like that experience. Are you kind of in that same boat?
I'm ready to go back.
You're ready to go back. Okay. Well, and you are a junior this year?
Yes.
Okay. So even if for some reason, and by the way, I'm not trying to project this at all, but even if for some reason you don't get to go back this year, we still got a shot of a full year of you being a senior in school like normal.
Yes, we have a shot.
Okay. Well, I'd love to ask you a little bit about you to get started with the interview. Can I ask you some personal questions?
Yes.
Okay. I promise they're not that personal. Do you live on a farm, or do you live in town, or maybe something kind of in the middle of those two?
I live in town, and then my dad commutes to the farm every morning. He's a farmer.
Oh, okay.
So he commutes.
So and that's what he does full time?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of farming?
He grows tobacco, soybeans, wheat, and corn. And then we have all the cousins and the kids. We have a garden.
And you have a big garden. And I think we're going to get to that here in a little while when we talk about your SAE, right?
Yes.
Okay. That is fascinating. So you are in Murray, Kentucky. What part of the state is that? Is that Eastern Kentucky? Where are we at? Western Kentucky. Okay. So I'm out here in the West. I'm out here in Idaho, and I have gone down a couple times to North Carolina to do some speaking at the University of Mount Olive. And I always go through Norfolk, Virginia, because I've got relatives there. And on my way down on that drive, the first time I ever did it, I had to pull off the side of the road and kind of walk out in this field. And I'm like, what is this plant I'm looking at? It's tobacco. It is so foreign to me. The tobacco plants are so strange looking to me being out here in Idaho. But your dad actually farms tobacco.
Yes.
That's interesting. When I was in North Carolina, I learned about the government had put like some regulations on growing tobacco, and they were moving people out of tobacco production. Is Kentucky the same way as North Carolina in that respect?
I think so. I'm not really familiar with all the rules, but I think it's gotten stricter about the rules and regulations.
Gotcha.
As time has gone on.
Yeah, it's an interesting industry, and interesting to learn about that when I've been back there. I'm fascinated with all of it. So when I get to a new spot like Kentucky or North Carolina or something like that, I'm kind of soaking it all in and trying to learn about it. So very interesting. Well, here you are. You're in your junior year. Are you serving on your officer team at all, or do anything like that?
I'm not on the officer team this year. I compete in several different competitions, but I'm not on the officer team.
Got it. Well, you're devoting your time and your energy to those competitions. Okay. How long have you been in the FFA?
I've been in the FFA since freshman year.
Okay. So what brought you in? What made you want to join the FFA and be part of that organization?
Well, I guess since my dad's a farmer, and actually my advisor is he's actually my cousin, Mr. Falwell.
Okay.
So it was kind of just bound to happen.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I didn't have a choice. I'm not sure.
You'd had no choice. It's like, well, let's see. I've got to stare at my cousin all day at school, who is the ag advisor. And then at home, I got my dad looking at me, who's a farmer. Yeah, I pretty much need to get that blue jacket on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that explains how you got in, but you've stayed in, so something must have gone right.
I just love FFA, and I love how we get to we haven't been able to travel as much this year, but at competitions and meeting new people and just after school practice and before school practice and just hang out with everybody, and you learn along the way, and it's really just a great thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And you're going to make connections in there that you'll have for the rest of your life, and you're going to learn skills in there, public speaking and leadership and all of that you're going to go into college having those. Then a lot of it, you'll find when you get to college, a lot of your peers are going to be behind you in that respect. It really is a leg up for you. Yeah, that is fantastic. Now, let's talk about you outside of FFA for a minute. So are you involved in extracurricular stuff and things like that outside of FFA, or is this your sole focus?
FFA is a pretty large part of my extracurriculars. I am also an FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America.
Oh, really? Okay.
FFA's and FBLA, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So Future Business Leaders of America, how long have you been doing that?
I started that sophomore year.
Okay. So what brought you into that one?
Well, I couldn't do it freshman year because you're required to have a business class and I didn't get into a business class, but I just figured ag business and the entrepreneurship of owning the business that I own and just learning more about it and just getting involved.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, I love the fact that A, you're entrepreneurial, but that B, that you're signing up for extra stuff to learn more about the business. I think that that bodes well for your future in business if that's what you want to do. Well, very cool. Well, you mentioned your FFA advisor. Do you have just one advisor at your school there?
We have two advisors. We have Mr. Falwell and Miss Miller.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for acknowledging both of those folks. Let's talk about this business that you started, your supervised agricultural experience. What have you been doing?
Well, we started Papa's Produce Barn in 2019. This summer will be our third summer going in. And it's really just, there's like three sets of cousins. I guess it's mine, me, my brother and sister. And then my other cousin is Mr. Falwell's brother, Andrew, and he has two kids, and then Mr. Falwell has three kids. So Mr. Falwell, his kids did watermelons and pumpkins and cantaloupes, and then Andrew, his kids did squash and zucchini and stuff like that, and then we did tomatoes. So in 2019, we all kind of just combined it all, and we call it Papa's Produce Barn because our store is we sell our stuff out of a store, and it was our Papa's Barn. So it just kind of became Papa's Produce Barn.
Very cool. Okay, so let me clarify. So you've got all these cousins who are all growing different stuff. Some are growing fruit, some are growing melons, fruit. People call your tomatoes fruit. Some people would too. But you've got the vegetables, you're growing tomatoes, and everybody came together in your grandfather's barn and opened up a storefront to be able to sell all this produce to the public. Is that right?
Yep, it was my great-grandfather's barn.
Your great-grandfather's barn. Very cool. That is really neat. So, obviously, you must be close with all of your cousins.
Yes. That's
great. Good for you. Now, the barn, has town kind of grown out to where this barn was originally located, or do they have to take kind of a drive to get out to you?
Well, it's like 15 minutes from the town from Murray to get out there. We're in New Providence, but we also we have a Saturday market, so we go and sit up there on the weekends.
Okay. And
if you need during the week, you go there.
Got it. So during the week, they come out to your great-grandfather's barn, but during the day of the produce market, you can find everything you need right there.
Yep.
And is that market, is that in Murray or is that in New Providence?
It's in Murray.
It's in Murray. Okay. And how big a town is Murray?
Not very big, I don't think.
Okay.
Not very large.
Big enough to sell your vegetables in, though.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Man, I love the family history of what you're doing and how you get to work with all your family. I'm jealous of that. I didn't grow up around, all my cousins were about 2 hours away when I grew up. And so I would love to have grown up around my cousins, but B, to be doing this business with them is really cool. Now, your produce market, is that seasonal or is that open every Saturday of the year?
The produce market is seasonal. They start sometime in May, and then our last day is at the end of October.
Okay, so May through October. And even with it being seasonal, though, that's a big commitment to be there every Saturday. Does everybody go every Saturday, or do you guys kind of set up a rotation?
Well, recently in the past, we've done everybody every Saturday, but this year with COVID, we've broken it into smaller groups. So we do 2 cousins or 2 to 3 cousins at a time.
Okay.
So we just did every rotations.
And is Papa's Produce Barn, is that the name of the business? Like, is that the name you use at the market?
Yeah, that's the name of the business.
I love it. And you guys have a great story with, this legacy obviously going back at least to your great-grandfather, and then all the different cousins working in this. And, of course, with your dad being a farmer, your other cousin being a FFA advisor, you got this rich agricultural history. Do you guys kind of use that story to promote your produce, or do you even need to? Does everybody already know it around town?
Well, some people ask kind of how we got started, and lots of people just know us just because of the small town.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we're just the cousins that sell vegetables and watermelon.
Okay. So when somebody says, "Man, it's watermelon season, I'd love a good watermelon," they just go, "You need to go see the cousins."
Yeah, you need to go see Papa's Produce Barn.
That's great. Now that's really fun. Now, how long has this farm been in your family? Do you know how deep it goes back?
I have no idea really when the original establishment began.
Gotcha. But at least a great-grandfather, because he put the barn up. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so now you've had this exposure to business. You're taking the business leadership courses outside of the FFA. So tell me about this. Does running your own business and being an entrepreneur, is this something that is intriguing to you, something you want to continue even when you're done with the FFA and you're out of high school?
Yeah, this is definitely, I've really just enjoyed learning all about it and what goes on behind the scenes, like learning what goes on behind the scenes other than just sitting up at the market and the financial and having to supply this and buy that, just so you can all get it out there and be ready on the Saturdays and just during the week for the store and restock and stuff like that.
Well, that's interesting. So when you talk about what's going on behind the scenes, you're talking about things like the accounting, looking at your expenses versus your income, your profits ratios, all that type of stuff. Is that the type of stuff you're referring to?
Yeah, and then definitely picking the vegetables. That's a large part of behind the scenes work.
Definitely. I would think, well, picking the vegetables sounds fun. Weeding the garden, that does not sound fun.
Yeah, picking the vegetables, it's fun for maybe like the first 10 minutes. Then after that, it gets old.
Then it becomes a job. You got 10 minutes of excitement, then it becomes a job. How big is the garden?
We have a garden, and it's about an acre, and then we have a greenhouse that maybe like half an acre. I'm not really sure.
That is significant. That is a bunch of work. Now, and I may have missed this up front, but do all the cousins work in the same garden, or does everybody work in their own individual garden and then bringing whatever they're growing to the business to sell?
We all do one garden.
Okay.
We always have had one garden. It was just kind of you did this and everybody else did that or that. but we all do one garden, and then we, after we pick and stuff, we'll bring it back up to the shop and we wash them all and then separate all the produce
Okay.
and then put it in the farm.
You know, this may just seem normal to you, but I am listening to this story, and I love this story just because there's not a lot of people in this country who share a garden with all their cousins, and everybody as a family, even as an extended family, works together to grow food for the family. It's very cool. I've never ever, honestly, except for doing interviews on this show, never been exposed to anything like that. That is a really, really tight-knit family. I consider you to be very lucky in that respect.
Thank you.
Does that just seem normal to you, or do you look at it and go, wow, we are lucky?
I mean, I understand how, like, we were very, very fortunate, but it just is kind of normal just to hang out, and we've always done stuff. You know, I'm at the farm and here comes some other cousins, and we're always just pretty much all together.
Yeah, that is great. Now, has this garden always existed for business purposes, or did it begin with, hey, we need to grow vegetables and fruits and stuff to feed our own family? Did it start that way?
I'm sure it probably originally, like way back when, started as growing for food, but we've always grown one in the summer just because we love tomatoes and the watermelon. But then we've expanded a lot, and now we just grow it for the community, and we eat some too.
That's great. Well, that's wonderful. So here you are. By the time this episode comes out, you're going to be just a few months away from finishing your junior year in high school, and then you'll be in your last year. And so once high school is done, once high school is over, what are the plans for you at that point?
I plan to attend Murray State University, and I'm looking into either an ag business career or going into the medical field. I haven't really decided yet.
Okay. So ag business or the medical field. So those are a little bit divergent. So it sounds like you've got some thinking to do about that one for a while.
Yeah, I've got some thinking.
Okay.
Gotta do.
Well, tell me about your interest in the medical field.
Well, I'm really kind of want to be a physical therapist.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, that or ag business.
Got it.
In that.
Well, if you're a physical therapist, as your cousins get older and everybody's out there doing that gardening, they're going to get sore, because as we age, bending over and weeding and picking vegetables makes us sore. You could help people out with that.
Yeah, I guess I could be the family physical therapist.
All right, that's a lame attempt at humor on my part. Well, that is really cool, Savannah. I am very excited for you. And wow. So let me do this. I want to wrap up by asking your advice for other students. But you obviously, you could get a lot of education on entrepreneurship and learning about your business just by staying in the FFA. But you really kind of dove into this business by going outside and finding that other club to join to learn about business. Talk to students about why you would go the extra mile like that. Why was it important for you to do even more work that maybe you didn't necessarily have to do?
I would definitely go the extra mile. Looking back, it's only really been 3 years, but especially within this past year, there's been so many opportunities that I've been given just because of this. One example that would definitely be speaking with you on this podcast.
Sure.
This summer, I was able to speak at a land forum conference where there was some other businesses that they did the Pennyroyal region, and we all just kind of spoke about our farm and what we did for this and that. And I spoke on that, so that was definitely it was great. But it's just so good. And then at the end of the summer, and you see all your hard work and how it pays off, and then how I'm going to be ahead of others just because of all these opportunities that I've been given.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's good advice. I love it when folks go the extra mile. They don't just stop at what they need to do, but they keep going to get better. And your public speaking skills, they're going to serve you for a long time to come. That is great, Savannah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody, and thank you to Savannah Pittman for joining us here on the podcast today. And hey, we love having you in our audience. We hope you will click that subscribe button and become one of our subscribers here on our YouTube channel. And we would love to connect with you on all of our social media platforms as well. You can find us under the name Off Farm Income on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And everybody, as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.